guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Wartrain here. If you're new, do me a favor, please subscribe and click that little bell down below so that you guys can get notified of every time I put out videos just like this one. And if you guys enjoy the video, do me a favor, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. But with that said, today's video, we're going to talk about this Nintendo tweet that everybody's been talking about now. Basically saying that there's going to be this game coming out. A lot of people are sure of it. I don't know if you are. Me, I don't know. Maybe not so much. Yeah, Nintendo has this tweet here basically showing Mario chilling on a beach. He's eating watermelon, got some seeds like stuck to his face or whatever. Pretty cool stuff. But you know, they could be saying a bunch of different stuff. You know, they could be just wanting to get people, you know, wound up, excited, starting some rumors and all that kind of stuff. Or, you know, they could be really working on something, and maybe people will have something here. You just don't know. Nintendo, they kind of do what they do. Just whatever. It's so random. It's hard to really gauge them a lot of the times. But one thing we do know is that they're going to be having a Nintendo Direct here in September. You know, I'm sure of it, and most people are sure of it. I mean, especially with the GameStop stuff. Like, I have papers from GameStop, a list of their games till the end of the year. I got that like a week and a half ago, and it already had like 8 games for Nintendo Switch that were not released what it was yet. So there was just end of the year dates on it, and that's what they do with all the games until they're released. But since that list I got, there's been more information of newer lists, where after that there was like 12, because mine had like 8, so then we went to like 12, and now they're saying, you know, a new list is showing something, I think like 18 of them, which is quite a bit. I mean, that could go beyond the end of this year, but still, that's quite a bit of unreleased games for Switch. And you know, they're going to have a Direct. I mean, they have one pretty much every September. It's pretty normal for them to have one. Plus, too, you got the Switch Lite coming out here. You got so many games coming out. And then they're going to want to start putting, you know, putting new game titles out in your ear, you know. If not all for this year, for next year, or whatever. They want to get people excited, and they want them Switches selling for Christmas time. That's for sure. The Switch and the Switch Lite. They want them things flying off the shelf. You know that. But, you know, is there anything to this Super Mario Sunshine remake that everybody is kind of speculating could be coming? I don't know. I mean, Nintendo could be doing a lot of different things here. Yeah, they absolutely could, you know, be remaking this game. And you know what? Why not? They have the Super Mario Odyssey game engine just sitting there. I mean, they came out with Odyssey a little while ago now, so why not? You know, they could make an awesome remake with that game engine, because that game engine was great. And it looked great on the Switch. It played super smooth. The camera was pretty good. You know, and there's one thing about Super Mario Sunshine. The controls leave a lot to be desired. And the camera. I mean, it's an older game, you know. It was the second generation of true 3D gaming. And they were still getting the kinks worked out. Yeah, at this point they got way better, because now they have the Nintendo 64 under their belt by this point. But, you know, they still didn't have it perfected. I mean, now they do a pretty good job. And these games are pretty smooth to play. And they're fairly easy to control. I mean, like, say, Super Mario Odyssey, I mean, little kids can play that fairly decent. I mean, yeah, when you maybe, you know, capture another character and you're playing as them, maybe that might be a little difficult for them because they have to learn their mechanics, but they figure it out. But something like the character Flood can be a little tricky. Even for me, even capturing footage for this video, I was having a trouble sometimes with controlling Flood, and especially the camera. The camera, wow, it was fighting me so many times. It was like always felt like I couldn't see because I was obstructed by a building or a tree or just something was getting in the way, and it would get kind of frustrating. And I could see a young kid that's like, you know, could barely manage all those controls because, Flood is kind of tricky with the mechanics. There's just a lot of button commands. And, especially when you have that camera obstructing your view, then you're trying to toggle the camera around, and it almost feels like it's like reversed of what it should be, and it can be difficult to play. And it's not everybody's favorite Mario title. So, I mean, there's people, don't get me wrong, that absolutely love this Mario title. It could be their favorite Super Mario game ever, because maybe they're just so nostalgic for it, because it could possibly be the first one that they played. So, yeah, it's really hard to say. But Nintendo's open to remaking games. We see this with Link's Awakening. They're remaking that, and that looks awesome. And I can't wait to play that. And I have a lot of nostalgia for that game, and it's just a fun game, and I think it looks great. I love the art style, and they are using a modern engine in HD. I'm sure it controls super smooth. You know, and I'm sure the controls are super easy. I mean, the original controls were super easy. It was just two buttons, and that was it. You just had to hit start or select whatever one it was a lot to pull up your items menu so you could switch out your weapons in your inventory, which is kind of a pain. But they're updating that and making it so much easier on Nintendo Switch. And they could possibly do something like that for Super Mario Sunshine. They could really update this game and make the controls like way more easy, fluent, make that camera a lot easier to control, make it just a lot better, especially when you have like buildings and stuff obstructing your view. They could really fade them out and make it where you can still see Mario. I believe they did that kind of stuff in Super Mario Odyssey so that you could still see your character. Because I want to say in Sunshine they did something like that. I think it was like a shadow, but it was still, you just couldn't see. Like you could maybe see where Mario's location was, but you couldn't see like anything else. You could have an enemy right in front of you, and you can't spray him down because you don't know where exactly. You're just spraying randomly and just hoping you hit him or whatever. So, I mean, they could really tighten that mechanic up, and it could be a really fun game. I mean, it could be, basically turn Super Mario Sunshine into like a must play. Or they could do like they had Super Mario Odyssey, and I guess earlier or sometime in development they had Isle Delfino on the map, but they never used it for the game. They never did nothing with it. They could actually do something with it now in either like a DLC, or they could just make a standalone game and just do like a new story set in that, like, in the Isle Delfino, and just do a whole new kind of story. Maybe do something a little similar. It doesn't have to be Flood. It could be like in Super Mario Odyssey when you're riding on the squid and stuff, and some other mechanics. You could still have Cappy, and I mean, who knows? Because they could add all kinds of different characters into it now instead of just having the Isle Delfino characters. They could have so many more, enemies and just game characters or whatever, to just really liven the game up, because now you can do so much more with games, now versus early 2000 or whatever, whenever the Super Mario Sunshine came out. But it's definitely exciting, and I believe Nintendo's definitely doing something. I don't know if they're actually just putting this out to say, like, hope you had a good summer, guys. I mean, it could be, but I kind of doubt it. I don't think they would tease a Mario for no good reason. Who knows? It could have nothing to do with Super Mario's Sunshine or any sun kind of thing. I mean, they do have a hashtag Sunshine, so that's kind of suspicious. So they could be doing a remake. You just don't know. Or, like I said, they could just do something totally different. It could be just Super Mario Sunshine 2. Imagine that. I mean, wow, that would be cool. I mean, all these years later to revisit, that part, that game world, with a totally new story, and they could just, who knows, they could take it so many different places. They could totally change the game. Like, maybe you do get something like Flood, but maybe it's a new character this time, you know. And who knows? They come up with some pretty cool stuff sometimes. So it's definitely exciting to wait and see what's going to come out. I'm like I said, I'm pretty sure, like almost 100%, there's going to be a direct in September. I just can't. I'd be more shocked if there wasn't than if there is. I mean, I'd be shocked if there wasn't. Seriously, but I believe there is, and I believe maybe this is something with this is going to come about. I think that would be huge for Nintendo. Like, can you just imagine if they announced another Super Mario 3D game this close to Odyssey for the Switch? I mean, that would be huge. I mean, they've done that kind of stuff before. I think that would be huge because a lot of people, I believe, are still buying Super Mario Odyssey. People that are buying new Switches are most likely buying that game as well. It's like pretty much like still Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Kart 8, Smash Brothers, and Mario, like Mario stuff. Um, 'Cause everybody loves Mario. And why wouldn't they? I mean, it's such an iconic, nostalgic character that's awesome, and there's so many great games. I mean, there's something for everybody with a Mario game. I mean, if you don't like maybe 2D games, you got 3D Marios, and vice versa. So there's a lot with the franchise, and then they got other stuff like Mario Maker. So now, if you don't like any of that stuff, you can just build your own stuff. So, they've got a lot of stuff for pretty much anybody. And it's really, really cool. And Nintendo does some awesome stuff. So definitely excited to see what they come up with. But what do you guys think that they're going to come up with? Do you really, I mean, do you think that they're going to remake, this game here, Super Mario Sunshine, the GameCube game that's been out for, wow. Let's see if it has a date on here. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but 2002 is one of the trademarks on here. Yeah, 2002 Nintendo. So wow, I mean, we're a couple of years away from 20 years on this game. So roughly, let's just say 17. So 17 years this game's been out. I mean, that's quite a long time. So a lot's changed. So I don't know. It could be really cool to revisit this. It could be cool to, have a second one, a sequel. It could be cool to have a standalone kind of thing like DLC where they just, maybe jump off of whatever universe the Odyssey world is in. I'm not sure it's really the Mushroom Kingdom. I don't know what it is, but jump out of that world over maybe to Isle Delfino or whatever for some different gameplay, mix it up. I mean, Nintendo could do just about anything, but maybe we'll find out something soon. But like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm definitely interested. And subscribe to the channel so you guys can see more gaming content just like this. I try to put it out every day if I can. But that's the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm the War Train, and I'm out. Have a good one, guys.